Call us on your cell phone. Culinary Hotline bling. That can only mean one thing.
It's that time of the week. It's a Wednesday and time for the Culinary Hotline bling. Ding, ding, ding. Yes. Oh, and it's an exciting one today because it's all about the pastries. And we know that making your own pastry can be very intimidating for most people out there. Well, for me at least it is. And I buy mine at shops. I tend to do that, of course. But here to tell us more about the different kinds of pastry doughs that are out there, that are available, and what to use them for, we have the lovely pastry chef Grace Stevens and, of course, Peter Abe, who's joined us in studio. Good morning to you. Welcome to the kitchen.
Awesome to be here.
Yeah. Last time I saw you, Peter, we were at a golf course.
I was,
enjoying
yes.
a beautiful sunny day.
And your beautiful little boy was with you.
Yes, he was. And soon he'll have to get into the world of pastries as well, because his dad loves pastries. But let's talk about, is it the essential pastry? Is it phyllo pastry, phyllo pastry? How do people actually even say this word?
Well, you know what? As Grace is probably one of the best pastry chefs, I'm gonna bounce a lot of things off her.
Yeah.
Okay. Bounce away.
So, phyllo.
What do you say?
Wherever you are in the world, depends how you pronounce it.
I think
pretty
it
much.
is. It's very much where you are in the world and how you say it.
All dependent. So let's not worry too much about that. But let's talk about why it is such an essential part of pastry pastry cooking, and what you can use it for.
Okay.
I think pastry has a different role for everything that you're going to fill it with.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you pick your filling and what you're going to do with it, and then you pick the pastry that suits that filling.
So the equation works
Am
that
I right,
way around.
Absolutely. You know, the amazing thing about this phyllo in South Africa, or phyllo, whatever you want to call it, is because it's frozen, we don't get fresh. Okay. Then what happens is when you take it out of the freezer, which you buy from the store, you put it into your kitchen and it comes down to room temperature naturally.
Okay.
The problem with ours is because it's been frozen, when you work with it, you need to put a damp cloth over it. Otherwise, it just cracks.
Okay.
So that's probably the most. If you're talking, I mean, I cooked in Turkey for a long time, so their stuff, because it's fresh, you don't have to do that.
Why don't we get fresh phyllo pastry here?
Have you ever seen how hard it is to
Quite a
make?
hard job to
Really?
make. Yeah.
What does it take to make it? Give me like a quick breakdown.
I think, I think the amount of flour the guy inhaled was probably.
Workplace hazard.
I think in his insurance policies must be like way up there because. But it really is. It's a stretch and pull, stretch and pull, stretch and pull, and literally, I mean, it's an art. It's like. All he does is make pastry, and if you watch a clip on it, I mean YouTube or one of these guys, it's something.
And it's the space that you need to make it. Because it's just
Their
water
tables,
and flour.
their tables
and
are
a little
about
bit of
30 times the size of this, and they just throw it.
Stretch and stretch and stretch.
Wow.
And then it's all about laminating it, and something like that is laminated with flour, where this is laminated with butter.
Okay. Interestingly enough, phyllo or phyllo, a Greek word that means leaf.
Yes.
So you can imagine, I mean, when you just to the touch, it is so delicate, and you can imagine the amount of time it takes. We've made pasta, for instance, on the show from scratch, so you can imagine making this. Paper thin like that must be
But imagine
quite...
the crunch you get once this is baked.
Yes.
And that's what this is about. This is all about the crunch.
Okay. All right. Yes, go ahead, please.
Sorry, mate. There's a typical dish in the Middle East called the burak, and it's literally a pie filling, and they take layers of that, and then they brush it with egg yogurt, and so they brush another layer, till it gets halfway into a little pan. Then they fill it with whatever. It can either be dessert like chocolate and strawberries, or you can do it with, let's say after a braai, you've got boerewors and chakalaka left.
Yes.
Put it all in the center, you do the same again, and then you bake it in the oven. And it's like that go-to dish. Pull it out the fridge, cut a slice off, warm it in the oven, because the nice thing about that, every time you put it back in the oven, it just crisps up and gives you that awesome.
Beautiful. All right, so that's a very fancy way of using phyllo pastry,
Don't
phyllo
forget
pastry.
baklava.
I was about to say, what other uses? So baklava
So
is one of them.
baklava with all those pistachios, and then after it's baked, it's just doused with a lovely honey, and it's just the most amazing thing to eat.
Samosas as well. We make samosas from
Not the proper way of doing it, but
not the
yes,
proper
you
way
can.
of doing it. Is that like
It's a different pastry. Yeah.
Oh, Oh, okay, but you can.
Absolutely.
Yes, you
You
can.
could use it as a
Even
Yeah.
spring rolls. And,
Yeah.
and what's nice, if you want to have your spring rolls that are healthy, you can bake that in the oven as opposed to deep frying them.
Oh,
I
my
did
goodness.
not know that.
Okay.
That is very
that's
cool.
That's exactly what the Culinary Hotline Bling is all about. We learn new things. Engage with us on social media, on Facebook. Bring forth your questions. We would love to interact with you. We'll be back again with Grace and Peter very shortly on the Culinary Hotline Bling. Ting, ting, ting.
It's my feel-good breakfast show. Call us on your cell phone. Culinary Hotline Bling. That can only mean one thing.
Yes, it means one thing when you tune into your feel-good breakfast show at this time on a Wednesday. Time for the Culinary Hotline Bling. Ting, ting, ting. Grace Stevens and Peter Abe are here. We're talking about pastries, and we were marveling at the wonders of phyllo pastry, as I was corrected very recently on social media. It's phyllo, because apparently that's how the Greeks pronounce it, and everything started in Greece.
No, the actual thing, I mean, I'm Lebanese, so there's a little bit of an argument here.
Oh!
It actually all stems from the Ottoman Empire. So they started they took over in Turkey. So I'd say it actually stems from Turkey and then went all across the world.
Peter, also our in-house historian. But that was that. Okay, now puff pastry, we're going to be talking about in a second, but you're going to show us very quickly how to make a short crust pastry. And while you do that, tell us what we can use it for, Peter.
Okay, we're going to just do it really quickly.
Yeah.
So we would normally take our salt, our flour, we would sieve it all together. And then what you do is you take butter, but it must still be quite chilled.
Oh.
Because what we're going to do is we would throw that in and we're going to mix it and you want to crumb it. What do you guys call it?
Crumbing.
Yeah. And this is the first time I've seen
Rubbing
baking
in.
using butter that is not at room temperature. So this time around, you want it chilled.
Yeah, remember if it's not chilled, it's just going to go everywhere.
Yeah,
You're not going to form that crumbs. Yeah?
No, you do. It's rubbing in. That
Yes.
So you want to evenly disperse it so it does look like breadcrumbs.
Otherwise it's not going to work.
No.
Okay.
And you're looking for a short crust
Yeah,
consistency.
so from that, all you then need to do is add your liquids to it,
Yeah.
whatever that might be, and what I normally do is I just put it into a cling wrap,
Yes.
roll it out nicely, and then put it into the fridge, let it harden, and then from there you can do whatever you want.
Okay, and then baking it to look like that, would that be what do they call it, a flash bake or blind baking?
Blind bake.
Blind baking, that's sort of flash baking. What are you talking about, Katel? You've had enough of the Culinary Hotline Bling to know that. Okay, so that's how you make it, and we'll be using it a bit later on in one of our recipes. But let's talk about this puff pastry, and used for a great deal many. Are all of these puff pastry variations?
Yes.
Yes, so-
not really the croissant, but because that's more an enriched yeast dough that's then laminated with butter. But
Very, very difficult to do though as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, but I thought you were going to show us a very easy version
So I'm
of
gonna.
it.
This is the one that you make, and you tell everyone you spend hours in the kitchen. But you just bought a nice roll of puff pastry from the store.
Yes.
So Pete mentioned this before. You have to let it come to room temperature naturally. So don't think you can just pop it in the microwave.
Yeah,
That's not going to happen.
plan your your dishes.
I've cut it into these sort of
Triangles.
triangles here. Yes, I was going to go for isosceles or something like that.
Wow,
but I
now we're
reckon-
getting technical, but I love that. Isosceles triangles
Yeah,
with
but,
two equal sides
yeah.
and one shorter side.
And then, okay, you can fill this with whatever you want. So I've put some chocolate spread and then, of course, some nuts and whatever nuts you'd like.
Okay.
I think I might have overfilled this.
I
but who
thought so too. But
cares?
that isosceles triangle is
Because
taking more than
this-
180 degrees in there.
Right, and then you roll it up.
All right.
Nice tight roll.
Yes.
Nice tight roll.
Wow.
Okay.
Just like that.
This is definitely going to go all over the place.
Let's try and make another one. You can SMS the keyword chocolate to 33728 and we'll send you a
That's-
link to the recipe.
This is how you are going to be able to make your own croissants at home by
Yes.
just doing
Oh,
this.
yeah.
Excellent. There we go. Then you can fold it in there. And while you do that, just quickly take us through the filling that we have over there, Peter. So we've got some puff pastry with some jam, I see.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yes. You were looking way on the
I
other
was
side.
thinking on the other table. What are you talking about? Okay, so I'm going to make a little pinwheel like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to take our pastry. It needs to be at a good temperature. Remember, if you've worked too much with it, it's going to be very soft. Put it back in the fridge for a few minutes just to harden up, because it's a butter-based pastry.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to do something similar to that.
What do you call that, by the way?
What I call what, man?
That which you've made there.
I think a pinwheel.
A
Yeah, it's a
pinwheel.
pinwheel.
Okay,
Yeah.
pinwheel.
Okay, so look what I'm doing. It's like almost like a cross. Then what you do, well, what I do anyway,
There you go.
is take the one and pinch it.
Fold it
Then
in.
you leave that one.
Then you fold that one in.
Fold that one in. You leave that one. You fold this one in.
Fold it in.
Leave that one. And fold it in. And then from there, you would just put it onto your baking paper,
And
dab
then just
that
add
down,
some
and
nice
then you'd
jam
add your
there.
jam onto this
Lovely stuff. And how long do you bake that for?
until it's golden brown. Just give it
it's
a
golden
nice
brown.
brush with either some, what would you use?
So an egg wash.
Egg wash.
With both.
So
there we
this
go.
is just egg mixed with a little bit of milk or water. And then that just gives you that golden brown puff. Oh, it's going to be amazing.
Excellent.
And
And-
200 degrees, hey?
Yeah.
So it's a hot oven. Well, not that hot, but
And
hot
usually probably
oven.
very, very quick as well, I'm sure.
About 15, 20 minutes, but you must watch it. Pastry you need to watch.
Do we have time? I can show you another cut.
Please go ahead. And while you do that, for that second recipe, the pinwheel with the jam center, SMS the keyword sweet to 33728. So what are you making there?
Another like little Danish
Variation.
or whatever you want to call it. So
So you're gonna kind of cut a little square inside
Inside the square.
but not all the way.
not all the way.
So you're
okay.
not trying to perforate it through and through.
No. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take that,
Okay, let's just move that bowl so that the camera can catch that. There we go.
take it like that, and then this one
Oh wow, okay.
over like that. And we'd give it a nice brush with our
Look
egg.
at that. It's a bit of a, it's like a geometry class as well. Just make as many interesting shapes
once
as you
it
can.
actually rises, it looks really amazing. It's,
Yes.
you can do a savory version of this, and then once again, just pop your jam or whatever you
Lovely
can
stuff,
do. So-
lovely stuff. All right, so the two keywords, one is chocolate to 33728, and the other is sweet to 33728. And stay tuned, of course, we have more Culinary Hotline bling. Ting, ting, ting! Coming up.
It's my feel-good breakfast show. Call us on your cell phone. Culinary Hotline bling. That can only mean one
Welcome back to
thing.
Feel Good Breakfast Show, just in time for our final segment of the Culinary Hotline bling. Ting, ting, ting! We've given Gracie a break, and Peter and I are going to conclude this part of it. And I think we've demystified most things about pastries today. We've shown you how, or we've tried to explain to you how phyllo pastry is made, but a very, very exhausting process that you might not want to try at home. That's
Definitely
why
not.
we have store-bought,
Purchase it, yeah.
purchase it rather. And we've shown you how to use it. I've told you how to use it. And then puff pastry is also one of the ones that we were talking about earlier on, showing you how to make those beautiful chocolate nut croissants, as well as those jam Danish pastries. And then we also showed you how to make this, a short crust pastry, which involves flour and butter that is chilled that you're gonna crumb, and then after that, what liquid did you say you add to that? An egg.
yeah.
And after that, you're gonna roll it out nice and flat.
And normally just some ice cold water, like maybe 30 mils or so.
Yeah, yeah. After rolling it nice and flat, you're gonna get that into your fridge, and then you're gonna be blind baking it so that it forms this beautiful short crust like that. Now, what to do with it?
Okay, so what we're going to be using the clover, vanilla flavored custard.
Excellent.
Okay, so we start in the pan, pot pan, whatever you want to call it, a little bit of melted butter,
Yeah.
some corn flour.
Okay.
Give that a little bit of a stir. Whenever you're doing any flour, always just cook it out. Otherwise, it's going to have that raw flour taste.
Okay. So what are we making in there? What is that?
In classical terms, they would call it a roux,
roux.
which just means equal quantities of flour and butter.
Excellent stuff.
Okay, so once that's gone down, now we add our amazing.
Oh, wow. Into a, okay. There we go. Okay. You can SMS the keyword bake to 33728.
Okay, so,
Oh, it's clover, excuse me. Clover to 33728.
that we're just going to whisk in. We're going
There
to
we
bring it
go.
up to the heat. It's going to thicken up a little bit.
Yes.
Okay, but we take that off for now.
Now, so it's gonna give your, because obviously custard is quite a, I mean, if you talk about the viscosity of the liquid,
Right.
quite fine, if you want to call it that. So adding the flour there is going to thicken it up so that it doesn't necessarily penetrate through
And,
the
and if
pastry
we had
created.
the beautiful Grace on here, she would explain the whole difference between a creme pat and a creme anglaise.
Creme anglaise. I'll tell you what, we'll record a video of Grace explaining that after this, and then we'll post it up onto our Facebook page.
How beautiful that custard looks.
That
huh?
is beautiful.
Okay, another little tip is if you want to get that nice and smooth, get some hot water and then just dip your spoon in it.
Mm-hmm.
You can be able to lay it, but we're not going to do that now, so we're going to take a little bit of grenadella. was one of my favorites.
There we go. Be
So,
creative.
down the
Let your
center.
creativity flow.
Okay.
And you can
then-
feel free to kind of just, let it do its thing. And I'm sure there's a variance of fruits that you could use as well. You could even go savory if you wanted to.
But I think, like everything nowadays, make sure it's seasonal.
Yeah.
Seasonal, local, and it's always going to be better. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's all on that side.
And while you do that, of course, clover custard, classic custard, is known for being the creamy taste that really takes you back. And it's smooth, it's creamy, it's delicious. That custard that has a unique recipe and is a source of vitamin
There we
A,
go.
B2, and vitamin D as well. And of course, custard reminds us that family spending time, quality time together, that's what the nostalgia is all about. That's what we all
We grew up
look
on that,
forward
didn't
to.
we?
Yeah,
Custard
exactly.
is,
And if you feel like spoiling your family out there, make it into a little lunchbox treat, if you will. Friends will love it as well. Oh, look at what you've done there. That's Instagram ready. I like what you've done there, Peter. All right. I actually want to taste a little bit of this because I've never tasted the custard that has with.
Just think.
I love the thicker context of the custard. Beautiful stuff. Thank you very much, Peter. We really appreciate it.
Absolute pleasure. Absolute pleasure.
And you can, of course, SMS Clover to 33728, and we'll send you a link to the recipe, and you can make your own beautiful clover custard short crust pastry. If you want to see how we made it, take a look at this quickly.
Clover Classic Custard, the creamy taste that takes you back. Made with love by Clover.
In the mood for something fruity, colourful and sweet? Thanks to Clover, you can make this Clover Classic Custard Winter Tart in a jiffy. Add 200 grams of cake flour to a sieve, along with 85 grams of icing sugar, 50 grams almond flour, and sift together in a bowl. Add 120 grams cubed and frozen clover butter. Then rub it all together until you've got a breadcrumb consistency. Next, add 1 egg yolk, a tablespoon of Clover fresh full cream milk, and a pinch of salt. Then combine again to form a dough. Wrap the dough in cling film and pop in the fridge for 30 minutes. Roll the dough to about ½ centimeter thickness. Then place it in an oven-proof tart dish and press down to cover the surface and edges. Using a fork, prick the dough. Cover with foil and add dried beans to blind bake for about 15 minutes. In the meantime, combine 1 tablespoon of corn flour with 1 tablespoon cubed clover butter and whisk to combine. Pour 750 ml of Clover Classic Custard into a saucepan and heat over a medium heat. Pour some of the warm custard into the corn flour mixture and whisk to combine. Before whisking it back into the remainder of the warm custard, spread the custard mixture over the cooled biscuit base. Then decorate with your favorite seasonal berries. Being a pastry queen or king is as easy as pie, so why not give this delicious and creamy Clover Classic Winter Tart a try tonight?
Made with love by Clover.
Definitely worth trying tonight. SMS the keyword Clover to 33728 and we'll send you a link to the recipe as well as the ingredients list so that you can make your own at home. Surprise the family tonight. I think they would love that, wouldn't they, Gracie?
Absolutely.
All right, listen, we're going to be opening up our page to questions regarding all things pastries, and we're going to be asking them to Grace and Peter a little bit later on in the next segment of our Culinary Hotline playing Ting, Ting, Ting!
Clover Classic Custard, the creamy taste that takes you back. Made with love by Clover.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Call us on your cell phone.
Culinary Hotline bling.
That can only mean one thing.
And we're back again for the Culinary Hotline playing Ting, Ting, Ting! Back for a quick little segment to take your questions from social media. Of course, we said end of the month is here, but the only dough we're worrying about is the dough we're rolling out in the pastry kitchen. And we've been making some delicious pastries out there. And you've come forth with some great comments as well. Fata says, ready to bake! Very excited with all kinds of emotion. Then Josephine Pixton said, good morning, family. My pastry bake is apple pie. That is also just a classic, isn't it? We even forgot to talk about apple pie. Such an important one. Shalene Shanice Reddy says, custard Danish. She loves that. Milk tart. Chocolate eclairs. Princess can drop some for me at Brenthurst Hospital. I need to pick me up. Oh, Shalene, hope you're watching. We're sending you all of our love and hope you get well very, very soon. And then we also had some questions that came through, but let's look at this first. Christine Saunders says, hello, Espresso team, Peter and Grace. I would like to know, when making any type, I'm assuming, of pastries like pies, can you freeze them and how long can you freeze them for? Thank you and God bless. Thank you very much for that question. So once you've made it, because we've said that you can make the pastry itself and freeze it, but once you've made the actual recipe, how long can you usually keep it for?
It's always a good question.
Yeah.
It's, if it's wrapped properly and your freezing facilities are proper, 3 to 6 months.
Yeah.
But I mean, if it's something so good, why keep it for?
I was about to say that. Rather, I mean, you've worked so hard to make it.
Because remember, you can have the frozen pastry, and then all you do is you whip up whatever you're going to put into your pie, take out the pastry, make it. Half an hour, you've got to
plan, plan the dishes, make just enough for what you need, and then keep the pastry, which you will use them later on.
Some things freeze really well, and other things don't. So you've got to be a little bit careful.
All right, good. Rafada Johnson says, good morning, Espresso family. I love the pie puff pastry, but I don't like to make it myself that much. Too much folding and resting. Is there any other way of making puff pastry that does not require the butter folding process?
I think if you take what we did for the rough puff, where you would just crumble in the butter, that's a quick alternative. Otherwise, buy it.
Fantastic stuff. Well, thank you very much for joining us this morning. We really do appreciate it, Grace and Peter. And thank you for all of your questions on social media as well. But in case you didn't know, we got some really, really good news today. Courtesy of DDEM, we have been awarded Best Morning Show on Television, as voted for by you, the public. Thank you very, very much. Yes, absolutely. Celebration. Aren't you guys proud to be associated? And it's part of your work as well, because without you, we wouldn't be winning awards like this.
You know, the food is a big part of this. Hey, look at that, man! Even matches your shirt, man.
That's my word.
Yeah, that is. No, it really is.
All in blue today.
I know, man. We felt the vibe, you know. But it's the bottom line is this is the most collaborative show on the planet. It really is. Such a joy to constantly be working with people in such a shared kind of way, and I think that's from our viewers to all of our guests to everyone. That's your award. It's your award, guys. But don't think that we're going to give it to you, because we're going to keep it right here.
So you can see it every morning.
You can come visit and check it out, like in a museum of sorts. We'll keep it up front by the reception area.
Don't have a museum.
We're collecting them. We're collecting these awards. Cats ones also live here.
Oh, do they?
Don't they?
No.
Sorry,
mine are at home.
Can go to his house.
But listen, thank you very much for the votes, because without you, this would not have been possible. Thank you very much to DDEM, who had the initiative of promoting South African quality production service providers and all kinds of manner of advancing business going forward. That's really, really great. It's a great initiative from them.
Have you guys eaten anything yet? Have you tasted
anything? No.
Are we allowed to?
Have you taken all the pictures you need? Okay, we're getting the nod, so we can all dig in. I'm going to get into this. Listen, thanks for joining us this morning. We'll see you bright and early tomorrow. Have a wonderful Wednesday. Make someone smile out there. Bye-bye.
Danish.